Sign the unit over.
Right.
Or, actually,
But then you're
we
going
have
to
a
extend it even further, all the way up to the corner.
We are live streaming.
Okay, thank you.
Well, question before we start.
Yeah,
Get a good dent.
Yeah, that was on Gen C.
That's good.
Not certified. Well, that have.
Well, he's not,
or do we really need,
yeah, he's not a con.
because you're gonna have two in a row.
Well, something already came up today. that was not on the ask.
We could talk about, I mean, we could, yeah, I was thinking about that, so we'll take a look at it. Doesn't matter if they leave, but let's talk about if we really need
Cut
it.
it the entire.
Some people go on,
Yeah.
we'll talk between the departments.
Good. It's not snowing. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
One more sunshine.
Hey, is that through the village, when the truck brings through?
Not the frame. It was the transmission.
We're gonna start our work session. So, as stated, I have our representatives from Honeywell here that wanted to kind of give an overview of the scope of the project. So I'm not sure, Steve, who's gonna do this, you or both of you guys, or Prashant? All three of you guys, okay. All right, so
Good evening, everybody. Evening. I'm not going to touch the microphone. We had a problem last June. Is this a new one, or? Okay. First of all, I want to thank the entire council, the board. Everybody's been extremely patient. Honeywell's been working at this for quite some time now. I'm Steve Botita, for anybody that's forgotten, account executive with Honeywell. Got Prashant Aurora here. He's my development engineer. And we got Ken Dow from Window Specialist. Was nice enough to come in, and we really appreciate him coming in. Mark wasn't able to make it. Mark's the owner, but Ken, again, filled in and is going to be here to help us out and support us. Just a couple things before we jump in. First of all, how much time do we have, Ron? I don't want to take
like
up.
15 minutes.
Okay. I just want a couple special thank yous. Ron Ruffino, Town Supervisor, thank you for all the time you've given us to date and a lot of going back and forth, getting information. There's a lot of moving parts that go on with the performance contract, so thank you. Councilman Leary, thank you for your time on December 22nd. It was a walkthrough, it was a little bit of a field trip. We were looking at windows, and Ken was not there, Mark was there, and we were looking at specifically the Town Hall and the History Museum. So it was invaluable. It was great information, a lot of good feedback, I think, went back and forth. I also wanted to thank Carmen Ciccarelli. I know Carmen is not here this evening. I did speak to him. He's been helping Prashant get finalized data for the utility information, which is key to this whole program. So thank you all. I appreciate it. What we handed out, Diane was nice enough to let me hand these out prior, it's 2 or 3 pages. And really what it is, guys, it's just an overview, how we got to where we are. And what I'd like to try to do, my goal, my task is to get us to a finalized scope of work, which is, if you look on the second page, we can go right past the cover page. By the way, one more thing, Tom Fowler's here. Tom and I went to school together many moons ago. Tom's been helping me with the front end of the contract, the legal terms and conditions. I don't want to leave him out. We had a good conversation, and that's also going to be a huge part of this thing seamlessly going forward, all the legalities that keep you guys safe and keep us safe. So, Tom, thank you. So I'm going to jump into the second page. This is per building. What at the end of the road now, what we're looking at is what we think is the finalized scope of work. We want to make sure that the council is okay with that, is okay with the direction we've gone, including the windows, which is the biggest portion of this job. The History Museum and the Town Hall obviously included. There's going to be a lot of work that's going to go on. These are older historic windows, but the precedent has been set that this is the focal point of the job, okay? With that said, December 22nd, we did a quick walkthrough. It was about an hour. We had to look at and make sure we were finally understanding what it is the town was going to want. Inclusionary of that was on the front of the building, there's 5 in particular windows that have a crescent at the top, or a half moon. It's a panel currently. It's a solid panel. One of the recommendations that we had and we thought about was, could we go back to a glass scenario? So it would be actual glass. It would look better. It would be no maintenance. And I think, again, Bob, with some of the input you had was, yes, let's do that. Let's look at that direction. Let's go forward. So that's one of the things we did. Per building though, if there's anything in particular that doesn't make sense on this page, I would like somebody to just, jump right in, because we're looking at LED lighting, obviously, throughout most of the buildings. One thing in particular that's going to come up here is that provisionary savings at the library, we can't touch because, to the best of our knowledge, it's run through the Buffalo library system. Even though the town owns the building, they're basically leasing the space, and they're paying the utility. So we couldn't optimize the savings there. We could still collect on the scope of work detail, though, and include it in the project. The window replacements, I'm not going to go any further with that. We've already kind of talked enough about that. Ken did bring some samples, though, if anybody's would like to see what that looks like. We don't have to do it right away, but we have samples. We showed them on late December what that would look like. So if anybody's any question on that, we have them here. The mechanicals, we got boiler upgrades. We've got building envelope in certain buildings. Energy improvement measures, there's a couple different colored dots here. The green is energy efficiency measure, where we can collect real data, real savings. Anything that's an infrastructure improvement, it's considered a scope of work upgrade, but the savings are either very minimal or non-existent, like they are at the library. But it made sense for the town, at least in our eyes, to look at that and make the improvement for the infrastructure, okay? Fan coil unit replacement, rooftop unit replacements, there's two of those. One is at the senior center and one is at the highway garage. Fan coil unit, there's only one, is at the OEM building. One thing I do want to mention is, one thing that came up during the tail end of our study was the Youth Bureau. There was an incident with some leaking, we'll call it that. Pretty major from what I went and walked the site. We had an installation guy come out. We were able to include that in this job. It's going to be a pipe wrap scenario with foam pipe wrapping, correct?
Yes, sir.
Prashant?
All the sprinkler system as well as the spray foam underneath it would be 6 inches. So
Yeah.
throughout the roof of the building.
So in between rafters, nothing was there. I'm not certain why or what happened, but that's going to be addressed. So hopefully there'll be no more freezing issues and no more broken pipes, no more elbows, all that good stuff. Air handling unit condenser replacement, we were doing that at the library as well. It just made sense from a folk.
Yeah, it's a R22 unit, so we're going to replace that glass for that, made it more refrigerated and don't have any issues, and the age of the unit is also good.
So from the aspect that the equipment wasn't working anymore, or really it's at the end of its useful life, it just made sense to go ahead and do that, okay?
Could you, I don't want to make, again, a resolution tonight to basically accept the proposal to replace the air conditioning unit in the Lancaster Library to Hobart Heating and Cooling. Does what you're doing there have anything to do with that?
So the heating and cooling, just for the entire building, the air handling unit was retrofitted in the past, so that's running really good. It's only the condenser unit that is old and is still using R22. And we walked the site with different mechanical contractors, and we came to the suggestion that we should replace that unit with a new unit. So the condenser unit and all the coils in the air handling unit will be replaced, but the air handling unit is still going to stay in place.
Okay. Michelle,
Yes,
anything on that?
I did walk through it with them. I was off that week, so I did walk through it with them. I haven't seen the paperwork yet
Okay.
from Honeywell. I was out.
Yeah, I don't wanna be-
Remember?
Duplicating things or doing something, going ahead with something that you think it should be changed out differently.
You have to
So-
talking with Carmen. The only thing that is being replaced in the library is the unit in the conference room. There's a small room in the back that has a furnace and a small air conditioning unit.
Okay.
That was in the scope, but was taken out.
Oh.
The town is working on it.
Thank you.
The only one we're doing is the one in the kitchen area upstairs, that small wall heater,
Yeah, the furnace in the back room has.
Upstairs?
Yeah.
which isn't part of yours.
Yeah, it's not a part.
Okay.
Okay, so that was the AHU, right? Is that what we're talking about? The condenser unit?
Yeah, so
Okay.
that is part of our scope, but that is a big unit.
Gotcha, okay. Okay. VFD and motor upgrades, again, at the library, that was just part of, again, with the walkthrough, it just seemed to make the most sense. Unfortunately, I wish we could gain the savings from it, but it's just the way that worked out. And the HVAC at the end there, the armor, do you want to talk that real quick?
So HVAC armor is basically, it's going to be coating. So the thing is, all the air handling unit has been running for a long time, so as the RTU, so over time, the coils get old and they get dirty. So what we do is we come in, open the unit, we wash the unit up, and then we put a coating on it, which increases the life and efficiency of the unit. So it's basically kind of like a retrofit and increasing the age of the units, and it's going to work more efficiently the way it's supposed to be work from the factory for a longer time.
Thanks, Prashant. Okay, so we'll just jump in because we're running short on time already. The proposed project financials. Ron and I had a chance to walk through this, Ron Ruffino, and I wanted to present, just so that the council, everybody's on board with where this is at now, where this shakes out. But we have this currently at a 20-year term. Not to say we have to go with that, if you can go shorter, and I'll get into that in a minute, but the estimated project value currently, we're looking at total energy savings combined is $51,322 on an annual basis. The cost, if you look down, the next estimated project cost, we're a little bit over $3 million, about $3,059,000. Total annual finance payment is $225,151. That's what we're estimating 4% interest currently. It goes around the same as what mortgage rates are going, and then we know those are fluctuating daily. Total capital contribution, this is what's been talked about since last June. Payments de-escalating over a 20-year term, obviously, but in year one, it would be $218,000 for the town, and then the combined total cost in year one was $488,980. The secondary page is a 15-year term, and really all it does, folks, is it's going to obviously shorten the term from 20 down to 15, so you're taking 5 years out. You're obviously saving on interest payments, but you're going to have higher payments up front. That's just, I mean, that's pretty simple math, but I just wanted to throw it in there just as an option, something to think about.
Well, personally, for me, I'm always been the favorable of the 15-year because even though you're paying a little bit more, you're chopping off 5 years.
Yeah.
You're chopping off 5 years as well as quite a bit of interest.
Yeah. Yeah, Ron, that's exactly why we did that. I didn't want to, I talked with one of our financial advisors internally, and she said, we could put a 15-year term in as well, just to see what it looks like. And again, it's going to shave 5 years off. You're paying a little more upfront, like you said, but I think at the end of the day, the value is there. So, is there any question on the financial portion from either page?
Yeah, who's lending us the money, basically? Is it your company, or?
Well, we don't do financing, Bob. What essentially is going to happen, we've got a finance RFP in place already, ready to go out. Our financial expert has worked with the town. I think it's Mary, is that her? Mary's working with our person on the inside. It's a finance RFP. It could go out to 3 firms. It could go out to 10 firms. That's entirely up to the town. And however, if you have a banking institution of choice, we can certainly look to go that direction. We can handle all the paperwork, depending upon what you guys want to do. That's pretty flexible.
Okay. And this is an estimate then on the finance rate?
Yeah, right now it's an estimate, but I mean, it's 4% on 20 years is probably pretty accurate, actually. Yeah, and then we had 3.75 on 15 years.
Okay.
That's what we're seeing, kind of similar projects look like, so. And then again, it's de-escalating pretty rapidly over the 20-year or the 15-year term. Last thing, measurement verification. I left this sort of open because right now, what's the estimate, about 15,000 for that? And until the finalized scope was selected, I just wanted to leave that in the back of in the back of your mind that it's a 1 year, we're going to have it in as the first year of the contract. By state law, we're obliged to do that, or obligated. After year one, it's really up to the town what direction you want to go with that. You're not beholden to have to do this year after year after year. Most of the savings, if not almost all of them, are going to be called stipulated savings because, meaning we're not measuring every single year, okay? Just based on what the scope of work looks like currently, it didn't make sense to have to keep reviewing that every single time. So this for now, it's probably going to shake out around 10 or 15,000. So based off of tonight and after you guys have had some time to deliberate, we'll finalize that. But I just wanted to throw that on there, so. I think we're at our 15 minutes.
Any questions for
Yeah.
any of the gentlemen? No?
Good?
All right. Thank you.
Quick and painful?
Thanks.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate everybody's time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, I got one question, Steve. What about like anything at the parks, like the pavilion? Was there any?
So at the Westwood Park,
Yeah.
we are doing some of the scope over there.
Okay, because Oh, okay, Westwood Park right here, okay. These are two?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, everybody.
Matt, anything?
So, you know, if I could just comment on the presentation, I mean, I understand the parts and pieces that are being replaced in each one of the buildings, but if I can, and if I would, I'd like to insist on even getting the information submitted for documentation and recording purposes, because we're trying to gain energy compliance through the state requirements. So if we're gonna be replacing heating units, you know, we should have that documentation on hand. There should be either a third-party inspection on the installation, or our code officials do the on-site inspection, just for that certification, you know, by the town itself, as we would with any other project. So if we can do that, I'd be happy to facilitate the permitting and the inspection process of that whole project. Also, I did submit the 1203 annual reports for both the town and the village of Lancaster. I'm sure everybody here was copied in on it. It was filed also with the clerk's office for the year. And next week, all of our code officials are going to be attending the 24-hour in-service trainings in downtown Buffalo with the rest of the organization. So it'll be Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, pretty much all day.
Ed?
Just a couple of things. Senior Center, so we finally gotten through the issues with the environmental review. There's a resolution tonight to hopefully clean that up and get done. So we've initiated the design. I met with Mary Beth and just confirmed the location of a couple of the features. So that should be moving forward. The historical building, still waiting for a response from Flynn, although I got something in today's email. I haven't digested it yet, but I saw it. And then regarding the mold, the contractor was out on site and just waiting for their report. They didn't think it was much to worry about. They said, like, the clothes just need to be washed. There's a couple spots on the walls, but they think it's surface.
It's one thing about these grants that we get, you almost have to jump through ring of fire.
This one had a lot of
those. And it's timely, too. You know, I mean, there's constantly things coming that I have to sign off on, and they only give you like an hour. You have to do this within an hour. So it's always in jeopardy, but again, it's their money. They're investing into our town. We'll jump through whatever hoops we have to jump through to ensure that we we get it here.
Police flooring, we met with the contractor last week, Michelle, myself, and a couple of people from the police department, so that's off and running. They're getting that scheduled, and that's just a scheduling issue now with the police department. The cameras, Tom and I are finalizing that agreement. I have to get one answer yet.
I got an email from him today.
Oh, okay.
And he's going to get back to me. He just got out of COVID.
Oh, okay.
So he hasn't
Fine.
done that. We should have an answer soon.
Okay. Impound area fencing, did they finish today? Oh, okay, they're working on it.
It's pretty slow process.
Yeah, they're putting the final slats in, and that'll finish that up. And then the exterior of the police building, and I apologize, because I don't remember if I reported this back or not, that we did get an answer finally from the architect that they can hold the contract with the contractor. So he is revising his proposal to get that to us. That's it.
Diane from
Yes, everyone should have gotten their town and county tax bill today. Anyone who did not get it should get it tomorrow. If you don't get it by the end of the week, please call our office. The county prints everyone's tax bill, and because of the blizzard, they were behind by a full week. So we got our bills a week late on the day I normally send them out in the mail. And I want to express my thanks to the 3 women who work in the tax office. They work their knuckles off. They really worked really hard. We got it to the mailer Friday morning. They worked 2 days, and they did a great job. So the due date is the same, February 15th. Anything later than that will be, the penalty will be added. Thank you.
Tom?
Real quick, did you want to talk about the February date?
Yeah, we're going to talk about it.
All right. Did anybody have questions on why I did that suspended resolution? Why I got it in so late tonight? Any of the councilors? Yep, good enough.
All right. I guess we'll run through our resolutions. One is mine, approve the minutes. 2 is out of the claims. Councilmember Mazur, number 3.
3 is the biweekly building permit reaffirmations.
Okay, 4 is mine, it's the agreement between the Boys and Girls Club, the yearly thing that we do. Number 5 is a donation of a freezer, a refrigerated freezer for the senior center from Green Buffalo patrons. Number 6 is mine, that's appoint Ed as the officer for the grant, so we don't have any hangups. Number 7 is mine as well, and that's to authorize the agreement for the highway superintendent to expend the funds. Number 8 is Councilmember Mazur.
Number 8 is to execute the agreement with Wendell regarding inspection of public improvement permits.
Number 9 is Councilmember Burkhart.
Approve agreement with Wendell on GIS support services for Highway Department.
10 and 11 are Councilmember Dickman.
10 is just for the special use permit for AJ's Automotive Salvage Yard on Ransom, and 11 is Advantage Trucks on Ransom Road for their special use permit as well.
And 12 is mine, and it's the agreement with the Niagara Scenic Tours for the senior center transportation. 13 is our yearly thing for the Hull House. 14 is adjust the salary for our lifeguards. 15 is appointing a zoning board member. 16 is appointing Recreation Commission person for that. Number 17 is Councilmember Burkhart.
Confirm membership roster Twin District.
Number 18 is Councilmember Leary.
It's to adopt and ratify the memorandums of agreement with the police department for the police contract.
Number 19 is Councilmember Burkhart.
Confirm membership roster Bowmansville.
Number 20 is mine, and it's approve agreement with Connor O'Brien, as he became a police officer, so it's his leave of absence from the Recreation Department. Number 21 is Councilmember Burkhart.
Authorize attendance of Highway Superintendent and Deputy to 2023 New York Association of Town Training and Annual Meeting in New York. And the reason why John was asking for Michelle to go, she does a lot of the administrative part at the highway. They do go over training, highway laws, as well as grant writing, which she would be taking care of, and they do have exhibits there as well for highway.
22 is Councilmember Leary.
Authorize to accept the proposal to replace the air conditioning unit, which we discussed earlier at the Lancaster Library.
23 is mine, is to request bids for trees, annual thing that we do. And the last 2, Councilmember Mazur, before the suspended one.
24 is to authorize an agreement with Penn Power regarding maintenance inspection services on our generators in the town, and 25 is an extension on a site plan in Lancaster Parkway. Nothing has changed, he just needs a little more time.
And the suspended resolution will be Councilmember Leary.
And that is basically to bring the chief and the captains up to speed with the agreement that we made with the Cayuga Club, the police department, regarding a change in there for, is it spelled out in here?
In the unlikely event that the tires
Yes,
pass.
yes,
With
okay.
local time.
Yeah, therefore, basically what happens is if the chief or the captains pass after retirement, that their wives would be covered up to a certain point in the retirement, the same as the Cayuga Club receives.
Guess we'll take a little break, and we'll be back at 7.
I didn't know how much detail was in there.
Because I sent out the
We have
MOAs.
Okay, all right, so this is just a...
This is just a resolution. It's only for 2 light departments.
Sure.
Because the other guys are
The number 10, secondary building, right, they're missing all their landscaping, so they're like 25 bucks.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it.
Yeah.
Shrubs and mulch.
Sounds good.
Just 140.
Yeah.
Do you mind, Bob? Can I kick it out? Thank you, sir. Put me up, don't put me upside down. Is that a signal of distress?
If you don't mind.
Straighten out the process a little bit. They're hard. Probably been on long, so here,
Yeah.
but I said, he's used this mail.
Sounds good.
You want to save some postage and time? I said, everyone's already got the part one. You should. And the part two is you gotta hand them out. So they're blanks anyway. Just have them on the desk for everybody. You save yourself scrambling to get them in the mail and get them.
The wetlands.
That's one that's going to say, I just read it, I said, it makes sense.
He didn't.
I hope not.
Hey, Dave. I got an email from Amy Thew, T-H-E-W, asking to have Field Stream removed.
That's a big one.
It's not on for this week. It's not on the agenda for this week.
Okay, I'm just saying it came in
No, Earth Dimensions down, no.
an hour ago,
It's
and
not
I
on.
didn't have a chance to send it out.
Yeah, it's not on the list.
I'll get it out, so
Carol
you have it.
Hardwood and Tool Ranch, and
Oh,
then
Glenn?
I think Tool Ranch.
Edgewater East. What?
Wait, which one is Tool Ranch? Is that the top three?
Mark.
Or is top, what's the top three? The
First,
Carol-
first three are Carol.
I think that's the only thing still on it.
Oh, really?
I think Ed, Tool Ranch is off tomorrow?
Two ranches off.
It's off tomorrow? So it's just Hardwood,
not be Carol?
Hardwood and-
Edgewater?
And Edgewater, they have anybody showing up? Did you find out?
February 1st. they
Yeah,
were.
Edgewater doesn't have anybody showing up, so
Oh, okay,
Let us-
so
let
it's
us-
just one project.
they'll just table it, yeah.
It's the same guy that's doing the consultation.
Really?
Same project.
That just looks like weird. I see a girl. It's too much. Yeah, it's not gonna be good for us. Traffic coming out.
Yeah, that's school.
That's the shortest of schools.
Wait, where? Tell them right across from the street from Woodard?
Yeah.
Lancaster School. Those kids go to Lancaster School.
Oh, yeah. So you can put a under.
So, yeah, we'd be stretching ourselves.
Wow. It's interesting.
How many meters?
It's a lot.
It's a $1 million project.
It's huge.
It's one of the ones I asked, I said, what were those towers? You know, they were there for a long time, those big concrete towers, those block towers, like you saw in front of Hillview. Matt's are there for.
Yeah, I had to get one of these, I had to keep my eyes on it. So I have it on the 27th. That comes
Building the city of Troy.
Sure, yeah.
To me, what's that?
So it was like building the city of Troy over there.
When I saw the shafts, it was just like, so, yeah,
Is that
not a good idea. But again,
20?
Just amazing.
It's hard because it's stretching roads, so they want to put that multi-use, multi-use on regional corridor roads. And we have no say in anything.
it's just amazing all that traffic impacting It's a shame.
My place, I had, 254, right?
It's the John Mary's, I guess, right?
So, there you go.
14.3. Some of the 14.2.
And whatever else is,
I didn't, wasn't paying attention.
and whatever else is.
Two,
Salvatore's, but I don't
on the
know.
rib, when I got it back, it had 3 wires. It had 4 wires, it had extra ground or what?
Yeah, they do.
It's listed as first. They said more ignore the line, ignore the white flag. No, it's not, I know, that's right. It's labeled 14-2.
It's an error.
No, on the package.
Yeah. Wire itself.
Yeah.
So 3 members won't be there for the
And the
February.
green is picture the.
Last year we did 7.
No, but there's no, we did it next week. There's no, the agenda's like 6
Went online, I said, they said,
And to have it the
if you don't
week
need
before,
this,
it's the same thing for the March meeting. So, check and see if, are you okay with just having the one meeting in February?
Oh, never heard that one before.
Would you want it to be the first meeting or the third? First, it would be the first one,
Oh, yeah, because we're not gonna be here the third.
because the first one, yeah, that's because of the times.
Right.
Last year we did the first 2.
We did the first 2, but the second meeting.
I know there was hardly,
nothing.
I remember that.
Yeah.
But I remember it was back to back the
Yeah.
first 2.
And we're gonna face the same thing here. So,
But because it's a rule, first and third, I think you have to do a resolution to amend.
you have to amend it either way. So either you can amend it to say we're not gonna have one, or amend it to a different.
Amend it to a different date.
My only input are legals. I didn't see any that reference that meeting, although there are bid openings that will be put off, and the tree bid to be awarded would be pushed off, so just so you know.
It says right there, landscaping.
Good?
I just asked them to get me a copy.
I don't think so.
Right, yeah.
So that's
Trying to
just.
get that for seniors.
My discussion with you is I put it onto the first meeting.
Yeah.
For the public hearing to
Whatever that
be
first,
conducted.
yeah, legal notice is public hearing. The next meeting, we can put the resolution on, it wouldn't be.
So the March meeting will be probably a little
We're
bit.
gonna eliminate it.
Okay,
So your notice will go out.
yes. Okay.
Do we have to have the resolution for it, or just the?
Yeah.
It'll be like the amendment, resolution, right?
I would, just to cover,
I think we do.
We'll do it next meeting.
and,
We'll do that on the 6th.
February 6th.
But that is still 2 days prior, so we can give proper notice out.
Why they couldn't put a
I'll send a press release, I'll put it on the website.
Sure.
All right, we're good, whenever you're ready.
I'm ready.
Call the meeting in the order. On the roll, please.
Councilmember Burkhardt?
Here.
Councilmember Dickman?
Here.
Councilmember Leary?
Here.
Councilmember Mazer?
Here.
Supervisor Rufino?
Here, the pledge and invocation. Town Clerk, Diane Terranova.
I have a quote from a book called Positive Outlook. Remember, everybody has a chapter they don't read aloud. Take a moment, sit back, marvel at your life, at the mistakes that gave you wisdom, at the suffering that gave you strength. Despite everything, you still move forward. Be proud of this. Continue to endure. Continue to persevere. And remember, no matter how dark it gets, the sun will rise again. Thank you.
Tonight's meeting, we have 25 pre-filed resolutions, 1 suspended, 2 public hearings, 1 executive session, which is under number 1, proposed pending current litigation. We'll be closing in memory of 2 people, Marie Zika and Mary Yergi. At this point, we'll ask anybody that wants to talk about any of the pre-filed resolutions. We're going to have the town clerk read a notice first.
For all property owners and residential property, please note that the town of Lancaster, Erie County, Lancaster Central School, Depew, Free Union School, Alden Central School, Clarence Central School, and Iroquois Central School all offer exemptions for low-income seniors. Property owners must own and live in the home, be age 65 by December 31st, 2023, and have a household combined income of less than $37,399. Each taxing jurisdiction has a different income limit. But if the income is below $37,399, there is some type of exemption available. The deadline for filing the application for the 2023 assessment roll is March 1st, 2023. Please contact the Assessor's Office at 716-683-1311 if you have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, can I have a motion to open public hearing number 1, which has to do with the Lancaster Motorplex?
Motion to open?
May I have a second?
Second.
On the roll, please.
I'm sorry. Councilmember Leary was second,
Oh, he's first.
He was first.
and Mazer was second.
Right.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Okay. Legal notice hereby given that pursuant to a resolution of the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster adopted on the second day of January 2023, the Town Board will hold a public hearing on the 17th day of January 2023 at 7:05 p.m. local time at Town Hall, 21 Central Avenue, here in Lancaster, New York, to hear all interested persons upon the application of Scott Nermy of Lancaster Motorplex LLC for a special use permit amendment allowing for the transfer of ownership of premises locally known as 57 Gunville Road in the town of Lancaster, County of Erie, State of New York. Does anybody want to speak on this public hearing? Please raise your hand. Yes, sir. Come to the podium, give your name, address.
Paul Nospish, I live at 31 Newell Avenue in the village of Lancaster. Speaking about the Speedway, being a young man a long time ago, we should, with the racetracks that are being closed throughout the nation, we should be proud, even proud of having a racetrack that old in our own neighborhood. I lived through the days where Roger Troyer of Tricler was racing those days. They are legends in this area. And Mr. Troyer has passed away years ago, but his shop lives on, supplying many race car teams with race cars. And I don't know if you know Mike Janis. He's a legend too. Thank God he's still alive. He has Jensen Raceway. He runs the Pro Mod division in the NHRA. We should be proud of that. And legends like Jim Oddie and Jim Zakia, phenomenal race car drivers. Jim Oddie passed away years ago, but that's the living history of a lot of people throughout the nation knows these gentlemen and the lives they lived in the races they raced. I just want to bring that up to the board. We should be proud of that track and the ownership, how they updated that track. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else on the public hearing? Yes, sir?
My name is David Chiralonza. I live at 6227 Genesee Street. I have lived in the town of Lancaster for 40 years, and I've been spoken to this town board in the past, in some instances in regards to the Speedway. I'm not speaking against the Speedway because it has been here for a long period of time, and I understand what the gentleman has said. But I do feel that since they're applying for a special use permit, that I would be interested in the town putting a condition on that permit that the operation go no later than 11 p.m. at night. Because in the past, it could run longer than that, because I think the noise ordinance of Lancaster allows things to go to midnight, and sometimes they would go to midnight and or beyond. And that makes it difficult for the residents who are in this area, who aren't necessarily opposed to the Speedway, but we would appreciate that condition so that they would operate in a friendly manner to the neighbors of the neighborhood, people of the neighborhood. Also in the past, there was some conversation, I believe, with the town board when the special use permit was granted in the past that they were considering, they being the raceway, to have a noise abatement program that they had looked at. And I thought there was an agreement with the town in regards to that, but I don't think anything ever happened in regards to some type of a structure that they were going to build. At the time, it was going to cost about $20,000, and they thought that was a reasonable expense to abate the noise, but I don't believe anything ever happened with that, and I don't know if anything was ever in writing, and I would just like you to look into that again also, if you could. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Anybody else? Second time? Third time? Can I have a motion to close this public hearing?
Motion to close the public hearing?
May I have a second?
Second.
On the roll?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Have a motion to open public hearing number 2 for
Motion to-
272 Erie Street.
Motion to open.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the roll?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Legal notice hereby given that pursuant to the authority set forth in Article 14, Administration and Enforcement, 400-78 Special Use Permit of the Code of the Town of Lancaster and the Town Law of the State of New York, pursuant to a resolution of the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster adopted on the 3rd day of January 2023. The Town Board will hold a public hearing on the 17th day of January 2023 at around 7:05 PM local time here at Lancaster Town Hall to hear all interested persons upon the application of Gerald and Deborah Litwiller for a special use permit for a home occupation, which is commercial catering kitchen, on premises locally known as 272 Erie Street in the town of Lancaster, County of Erie, State of New York. Anybody want to speak on this public hearing? Yes, sir?
Gerald Litwiller, 272 Erie Street. I just want to appear before the board if there are any questions in relation to the application.
I am
Good? No?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Anybody else like to speak? Second time? Third time? Motion to close?
Motion to close?
May I have a second?
Second.
On the roll, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Okay. Official reports? Anybody?
Planning board meeting tomorrow at 7 o'clock.
Okay. We did, I know Ed made it out to the senior center, as we're finalizing, the stuff that we're getting for the grant that we got from the state. Again, included will be a van, but more importantly, we're there finalizing the location of the gazebo that we're gonna have put out there, the pickleball court, and the sidewalks and things of that nature. So things are moving along very well. It'd be nice improvements over at the senior center. Any other report of town board committees?
Library Committee. I'll be out meeting with several people at the library on Thursday morning at 8 a.m. Apparently, the cost for our elevator renovation in there is going up based on some additional work that it was recommended be done. So Ed will be there, and Deputy Highway Superintendent will be there, and some other people to see exactly what they're talking about, because we never approved the additional, looks like $25,000 they're asking for. So we're going to have to take a pretty good look at that and see exactly what they're talking about and bring it back before the board to decide if we want to go ahead with it or not.
Anything else? We're going to move on to our resolutions. I'd like to move resolution number 1. This is out the minutes of the regular meeting of the town board held on January 3rd, 2023, being hereby approved. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. I'd like to move resolution number 2. This is out the following all the claims being hereby ordered paid from the respective accounts as per abstract to be filed in the office of the town clerk by the supervisor's office to its check run number 011723. The total amount hereby authorized to be paid is $708,429.93. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Councilmember Mazer, number 3, please.
Yes, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board, offer the following resolution, move for its adoption. Be it resolved that the following building permit applications are and hereby reaffirmed. There was a total of 15 between the town and the village, 8 in the town, 7 in the village. Now therefore, be it resolved that the building permit applications herein coded CSW for conditional sidewalk waiver are hereby reaffirmed with the waiver of the town ordinance required for sidewalks. However, the waiver is granted upon the express condition that the town of Lancaster at any future date reserves the right to order sidewalk installation at the expense of the property.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. I'd like to move resolution number 4. Be it resolved, the Town Board of Town of Lancaster hereby approves the agreement between the Town of Lancaster and the Pew Lancaster Boys and Girls Club in order to provide financial assistance for the operation of a youth development program for the benefit of the youth in the Town of Lancaster in the amount of $245,000 as appropriated in the account code A7320.411. 41, in the Town of Lancaster, New York's 2023 adopted budget. Be it further resolved, the Town Board hereby authorizes the supervisor to execute said agreement, which will cover the period of January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2023. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. I'd like to move resolution number 5. Now therefore be it resolved, the Town Board of Town of Lancaster hereby accepts the donation of one new and unused standing freezer, including delivery, valued at approximately $1,042.86 from James Lynch, owner of Green Buffalo Pub, and the patrons of his establishment for placement and use within the Town of Lancaster Senior Center located at 100 Oxford Avenue. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. I'd like to move resolution number 6. Now therefore be it resolved, the Town Board of Town of Lancaster does hereby appoint consulting town engineer Ed Schiller as the town's certifying officer for all environmental review processes associated with the New York State Community Development Block Grant number 2628CVPF41-21 only. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes, I'd like to move resolution number 7. Now therefore be resolved, the Town Board of Town of Lancaster does hereby authorize the execution of the proposed agreement to spend town highway funds for 2023 as submitted by the Superintendent of Highways. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes, Councilmember Mazur, number 8.
Yes, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board, I offer the following resolution, move for its adoption. Whereas on July 20th, 2020, the Lancaster Town Board authorized the supervisor to enter into an agreement with Wendell Architecture, Engineering, Surveying, and Landscape Architecture to provide construction administration and residential observation services related to the public improvement permits inspection program in the town of Lancaster. And whereas Wendell has submitted a proposal for the said services dated December 12th, 2022, and received January 5th, 2020, it should be 23. I think that should be 2023.
Okay.
Via email, which updates the fees and liability requirements. And whereas by memo dated December 13th, 2022, consulting engineer Ed Schiller has reviewed and approved the revised agreement to perform construction administration for its quoted lump sum of $8,900 and residential observation services at $120 per hour related to the public improvement permits inspection program. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster hereby approves the agreement between the Town of Lancaster and Wendell to provide construction administration and resident observation services related to the public improvement permits inspections program to be effective January 17, 2023 through January 16, 2024, which will be paid for with funds from the appropriate highway budget account.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes, Councilmember Burkhart, number 9.
Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board, I am offering resolution number 9 for adoption, whereas on December 5th, 2011, the Town of Lancaster entered into an agreement with Wendell Architecture Engineering to provide professional services which included upgrades to the town's functional geographic information system, or GIS, for the development and implementation of the ArcGIS server web mapping application, WMA, integration and updated of culvert layer, drainage analysis, and GIS technical support and training. And whereas the contract with Wendell to provide annual GIS web mapping application, hosting, and ArcGIS online administrative and GPS support services for the Town of Lancaster GIS program has expired according to its contract terms, and whereas by letter dated December 13th, 2022, Highway Superintendent John Plato has requested that the town renew said agreement with Wendell for ArcGIS online administrative and GIS GPS support services and GIS web map application hosting services as included in the software subscription agreement for the 2023 calendar year. And whereas the 2023 cost for Wendell's ArcGIS and GIS GPS support services is $4,000, no increase from 2022, and the cost for GIS web map application hosting is $4,620, a $220 increase from 2022, per Wendell's proposal dated November 15th, 2022, with revision date of January 5th, 2023. Now therefore, be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster hereby approves the GIS agreement between the Town of Lancaster and Wendell to provide the town's Highway Department professional GIS support services, which includes ArcGIS and GIS GPS support services and GIS web map application hosting services, for an amount not to exceed $8,620 per their proposal dated November 15th, 2022, with a revision date of January 5th, 2023, and which will be paid for with funds available in the town's 2023 drainage contractual expenses professional services budget line item 01-8540-0451. And be it further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster, the Town Board hereby authorizes the Town Supervisor to execute the 2023 GIS Services Agreement with Wendell effective January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2023, in the software subscription agreement, which will be also effective January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2023, pending receipt and approval of professional liability coverage effective 1/1/23 by the town's attorney's office.
May I have a second
Second.
on the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Councilmember Dickman, number 10 and 11, please.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor, Honorable Town Board. I move resolutions 10 and 11 for their adoption. Whereas J. Rankus and Sons, DBA AJ's Auto LLC, 955 Ransom Road, Lancaster, New York, has applied for a license to conduct a salvage yard on the premise of 955 Ransom Road in the town of Lancaster. And whereas the application was referred to the Town Board for review, and whereas the building inspector by letter dated January 9th, 2023, has notified the Town Board that he has completed his review and made a favorable recommendation thereto. Now therefore be it resolved that J. Rankus and Sons Incorporated, doing business as AJ's Auto LLC, 955 Ransom Road, Lancaster, New York, be and is hereby authorized to conduct a salvage yard on the premise situate at 955 Ransom Road, Lancaster, New York, for the period of January 1st, 2023 to December 31st, 2023, in strict conformance with the application of the petitioner as filed in the office of the town clerk.
May I have a second
Second.
on the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes.
And whereas AdvantageTrucks.com LLC, 933 Ransom Road, Lancaster, New York, has applied for a renewal license to conduct a salvage yard on the premises at 933 Ransom Road within the town of Lancaster. And whereas the application was referred to the Town Board for review, and whereas the building inspector by letter dated January 9, 2023, has notified the Town Board that he has completed his review and made a favorable recommendation thereto. Now therefore be it resolved that AdvantageTrucks.com LLC, 933 Ransom Road, Lancaster, New York, be and is hereby authorized to conduct a salvage yard on premises situated at 933 Ransom Road, Lancaster, New York, for the period of January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2023, in strict conformance with the application of the petitioner as filed in the office of the town clerk.
May I have a second
Second.
on the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazer?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes, I'd like to move verse number 12. This resolves that the Senior Center Recreation Supervisor, being is hereby authorized to execute the transportation orders with Niagara Scenic Tours, know-how company, to provide transportation services for the senior center events participants during the 2023 calendar year, with fees to be paid for by the participants. Should there be a balance owed, the remainder will be paid for with funds available in the town's 2023 programs for the aging rentals budget line item, number 01.7610.0409. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes, I'd like to move resolution number 13. Be it resolved, the Town Board of Town of Lancaster hereby authorizes the town supervisor to execute on behalf of the Town of Lancaster the memorandum of agreement between the town and the Hull House Foundation in order to provide financial assistance for support of historical edifices located at 5976 Genesee Street within the Town of Lancaster amount of $3,500 as appropriated in the Town of Lancaster's 2023 Other Culture and Recreation Contractual Expenses Budget line. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. I'd like to move resolution number 14. Now therefore be it resolved, the pay rate be it hereby adjusted from $15 to $15.50 per hour for the following part-timers. It's for lifeguards, going from $15 to $15.50, effective date of January 1st, 2023. Be it further resolved, the supervisor of the town of Lancaster shall be authorized to take all necessary action to implement the foregoing. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll?
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes, I'd like to move resolution number 15. Now therefore be it resolved that Michael Hain, Lancaster, New York, be and is hereby appointed as a member of the Town of Lancaster Zoning Board of Appeals for the term expiring December 31st, 2027, with a start effective date of January 12, 2023. Be it further resolved that the supervisor of the Town of Lancaster shall be authorized to take all necessary action to implement the foregoing. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes, I'd like to move resolution number 16. Now therefore be it resolved that Cynthia Barnhart, Lancaster, New York, being is hereby reappointed as a member of the Town of Lancaster's Recreation Commission for the term of January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2026. Be it further resolved that the supervisor of the Town of Lancaster shall be authorized to take all necessary action to implement the foregoing. May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember Dickman?
Yes.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes, Councilmember Burkhart, number 17.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor and Honorable Town Board. I am offering Resolution Number 17 for adoption. Whereas Twin District Volunteer Fire Company, by letter received January 12, 2022, has requested the addition of the following member to the roster of said fire association. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Lancaster hereby confirms the addition to the membership of the Twin District Volunteer Fire Company, the following individual, Adam Dickman.
May I have a second?
Second.
On the question? On the roll.
Councilmember Burkhart?
Yes.
Councilmember
I
Dickman?
abstain.
Councilmember Leary?
Yes, and thank you for your service.
Councilmember Mazur?
Yes.
Supervisor Rufino?
Yes. Councilmember Leary, number 18.
Mr. Supervisor and honorable town board members, I move the following resolution for adoption. Whereas the town board of the town of Lancaster has reviewed memorandums of agreement which have been reached between the negotiating team representing the town of Lancaster and its police contract negotiations with the collective bargaining unit of the town of Lancaster Police Department, known as the Cayuga Club Police Benevolent Association Incorporated, commonly known as the Cayuga Club. And whereas the Cayuga Club membership has heretofore ratified the memorandums of agreement, and whereas after due review and consideration, the town board deems it in the public interest to ratify the memorandums of agreement, which will be incorporated into a 5-year contract between the town of Lancaster and the Cayuga Club. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town board of the town of Lancaster hereby adopts and ratifies the memorandums of agreement as negotiated with the herebefore mentioned Cayuga Club, which will be incorporated into a 5-year contract between the town of Lancaster and the Cayuga Club, and further, the town board authorizes the supervisor of the town of Lancaster to execute the full contract when prepared.
May I have a second
Second.
on the question?
I
Is
do-
that- Go ahead.
Go ahead, you can go first.
I have a comment, and although I feel that they deserve this, I think the board knew what we had to work with, money-wise. We're using ARPA funds for this. And there's a, our auditors were not in favor, there's a note here, and this went to, Councilmember Leary and Councilmember Burkhart and our attorney, because there was a meeting held. And again, ARPA funds, I had no problems using ARPA funds if they were used for a bonus. It's a one-time thing. But here's the statement by our auditors. Raises were mentioned during the call, and if future raises are desired, it wouldn't fall under premium pay. Those represent future costs unrelated to ARPA, which could be communicated as such subsequent to the town recognizing the provisions of government services and the related revenue loss. Keep in mind that raises are built in future budgets and do not represent one-time costs. When the federal aid is no longer available, it